Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Fallout 76 video. So, I have been having a look at the new fishing content that is currently on the public test server over the last few days, and I thought I'd share my early thoughts and impressions with it. So, to kick things off, little kind of caveat. This isn't really my thing, and that's not unique to Fallout at all. There are plenty of other games I've played that have had fishing mechanics that are broadly similar in them as well, and they weren't my thing there. Didn't really get much out of it, found it a bit dull to be honest. Don't really feel any differently here. So that's kind of an overarching thing. I mean, to be fair, I feel much the same way about fishing in real life, no pun intended, as well. So maybe I'm not the right person for this, but I'll try and stay at least reasonably objective about the whole thing. So there's a little sort of qualifying statement before we dive in. So, fishing on the PTS. There's a bit of obvious jank to it, as you would expect for the PTS. That's kind of why it's there, to iron those creases out. That's fine, and to get feedback. So, yeah, that's about expected. But beyond that, kicking things off, you get a radio signal first off, which leads you to a new location in the Mire. The spot is, it's interesting, sort of pushes out over some piers and things like that into the water down near Valley Galleria. And yeah, it's fine. It introduces you to a couple of new characters, one of whom is a Mirelurk King mutant variant who seems to be a bit more sentient and less aggressive than usual. I say less aggressive, there's something to that, shall we say. There's definitely an untold, shall we say, backstory at the moment that may or may not get elaborated on. Definitely gets implied there. So there's a couple of new characters there you can meet, and this sort of begins a whole lead-in quest that basically introduces this minor mystery and teaches you the mechanics of fishing, which is pretty simple. You walk over to a body of water that you can swim in. Theoretically, actually, it's a little bit more flexible than that, but basically it needs a certain amount of depth to it. And when you look at the water, a new pop-up appears that says fish alongside, drink and collect. So you do that, and it opens up the fishing kind of animation, and you get a fishing rod out. You won't find that in your inventory, by the way, but if you go to a weapons workbench, that's where you can modify it, and you will want to do that. So yeah, and then you select your bait and hit the cast button. Then you can just wait for the float, and it's a float, not a bobber. So yeah, you just wait for that to get pulled under, as you would expect. And when you hit the reel in button, and you get a little mini game, which kind of reminds me of lockpicking, really. It's a circular icon that comes up, and there's an illuminated sort of wedge that you need to keep the fish icon within until it hits the center of the circle. And obviously it'll move around and try and escape. And if you don't keep it in the wedge correctly, then it will get away from you, and you'll have to start over again, and you lose your bait. So yeah, fairly basic, not massively exciting. Each cast takes between about 10 seconds and about 30 seconds-ish, depending on, what you're catching and how it goes and stuff. It does vary a little bit. That's fine. It's very, very standard stuff. So, once you've done this leading quest and it's introduced you to that, it'll show you about creating fish bits and meals from your caught fish, and also turning stuff in at the... So yeah, once you've done that, it'll take you back towards the new NPCs and show you about turning stuff into them, and also turning your fish bits in if you choose to craft those, and how to craft meals as well out of your fish, and you can get legendary items for it. But there's also a whole load of unique fishing related stuff, upgrades for your rod and so on and so forth. So the next major thing that goes on is the daily fishing challenge. You'll find that in your Pip-Boy under the daily quests thing. Sort of scroll down, there's quite a lot in there actually now. But yeah, there's a fishing one, and it'll send you to whatever location and ask you to catch X number of fish in this location usually, and maybe under specific circumstances as well. I haven't seen any weather requirements for that yet, which would be a bit of a pain, but still, that is a thing, so it could send you to fish in certain weather conditions as well. I don't know yet. But yeah, you go off, you do that. Once you've completed this minimal amount of fishing, it'll reward you with usually something related to fishing, as well as sending you back to the fisherman to sort of turn it in, which is a little bit unnecessary. Kind of, I get the story reason for it, but it's a little bit of a drag to trek across this location once you've done it. Yeah, that's all fine, not very exciting. But it's a little something extra to do in your daily rotation. I imagine we'll see score challenges related to complete daily fishing quest popping up as well, so something else we can do for a bit of score perhaps. So yeah, completing these daily quests will give you sort of fishing-related rewards, as well as obviously the fish themselves. And there's some quite cool-looking fish. They've done a nice job designing some of these. There's some interesting ones and some ones that you definitely want to keep your fingers away from their teeth. But yeah, it's quite cool. There's some interesting designs and some very Fallout designs in there as well. I'll try and remember to throw a couple of those up on screen for you as well. You can have a look, because there are some quite fun ones. On top of this, we've also got sort of one-off challenges, the kind that we've had in the challenge menu for ages. Collect so many of whatever thing and kill X number of robots with the melee weapon and whatever else we have. We've got tons of those. There's now fishing ones under their own section. And those give you also rod upgrades, things like that, and a number of other bits and pieces for your camp too. So yeah, the rod upgrades, once you apply them, give you additional benefits. It might be faster catch times or just more reliable line and stuff like that, so less fish will get away, that sort of thing, as well as giving you better chances to catch more rare fish. And the same thing goes for the different baits as well. Haven't really had a lot of experience with the baits. Actually acquiring those is sort of something you'll be doing through general gameplay anyway, and on the test server, that's, unless you're going to spend a lot of time there doing stuff that's not actually fishing, it's not really the best thing to test, so can't comment too much on the viability of that at the moment. But it is what it is, and obviously the highest tier are coming through the Seasons system, so let's hope that doesn't end up behind a Fallout First lock, otherwise that would suck quite a bit. That said, I did manage to catch an axolotl using the intermediate bait, the mid-tier one, whichever it was, which is not the best one that's available from Seasons, so at the very least, the rarest fish can absolutely be caught using regular baits without it being too onerous. It didn't take me too long. And I stood in a nuke zone to do it, because different weather types increase the chances of catching different types of fish. The rarest types being glowing and the axolotls and things like that. And yeah, nukes seem to be the best way of doing that, based on my very limited testing so far. So that's interesting and definitely a very unique Fallout twist. So yeah, all in all, it's a fishing mechanic. You do a little mini game, you catch fish, you cook them, you turn them in for fishing related rewards, or for legendary, sort of a random roll legendary as well. It's really not a good way to get legendaries though, so I wouldn't prioritise that. And you can get food in the form of fish once you cook it up as well. I'm guessing they'll add more fish recipes in time and more fishing related stuff in general, as well as stuff relating to it via the seasons. I assume we'll get things like better rods and stuff like that through there, because they don't seem to be available at the moment. Perhaps some other styles as well. All in all, it looks like it's going to be fine. If you're into fishing mechanics, I think you will get the same thing out of it you get out of it in any other game, to be honest. If you're not, I don't think it's going to be particularly exciting. There's a couple of things I have noticed I would like to see added to the current setup, which again may be a seasons thing, or a good chance of being Atomic Shop as well. The top one on the list is fish tanks. There are display options for the fish you've caught, but they're a bit limited right now, and they basically seem to include displaying dead versions of the fish. What about, having a fish tank? You put the fish in there and it can swim around, maybe different sizes of tanks as well, depending on the space you have available in your camp, or whether or not you want to spread them around your camp, things like that. That would be a nice addition. The other thing that I noticed that was slightly annoying is photo mode does not work when you're fishing. It's not particularly unusual for a specific animation like this, much like workbenches, for example, to disable photo mode. Or furniture and things like that. It's all in that same category. But with fishing, I think I would particularly like to see photo mode be a thing, I think it would be good. So yeah, that's my sort of initial thoughts. I think if you're into fishing, you'll probably have a good time with this. If you're not, it's something else to do, but it's not spectacularly exciting in the main part. There's some nice bits and pieces for camps, but this is an update for other people from my perspective. It's not really my thing, so yeah. Obviously, we'll dive into it, we'll mix things up. There'll probably be score available as a result, so that would make sense as well. But yeah, my first impression is, as with every other fishing mechanic in every other game I've ever encountered it in, it's a bit dull, really, to be honest. On the other hand, as far as fishing mechanics go, it's as interesting as it gets, so there's that. But yeah, I mean, I'm starting from a position of not being into this, so if you are a fan of fishing mechanics in games, you will probably like this, is the other side, but just not me. But yeah, anyway, that's my initial thoughts based on my first sort of few hours of playing around with it on the PTS. It's as good as fishing systems seem to get so far anyway. I would really like to see them increase the number of sort of the amount of user input to it. For example, when we cast the line in, right now, all you do is press a button and it's done for you. Trigger animation button. I'd like to see more control over it, actually make the cast with your controller thumbsticks or with a mouse or whatever. Stuff like that would be a nice addition, but not really there at the moment. So, yeah, there is room to build on this, I think, and hopefully Bethesda will do that on down the line. But we'll see. On the whole, this update in general is not massively my cup of tea. There's a whole bunch of other changes that are going on on the combat side as per usual, or at least usual recently, and I'm not that big a fan of those either. I don't think the direction's great over the whole, but like I say, your mileage will almost certainly vary. So, I hope you guys found that useful and informative. If you did, please consider dropping likes and subs. I very much appreciate. Down below, we've got social media links in the description and channel memberships on the blue join button if you'd like to support the channel directly. I really, really appreciate that. If you get a chance, join us for live streams as well. We've got 76 here and there. We're doing a bit of repetition on the whole score stuff at the minute, so it's maybe not quite as often at the moment. But there's a huge amount of other stuff going on. We've been playing a ton of other games, got a load more coming, and if rumoured Oblivion remakes might be coming, or remasters, or whatever they're calling it, then we're going to be all over that, right? So, yeah, keep it here. For now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.